Hey, what's up everyone? My name's Sean and I'm here today to just show you a little side project. This is a GX470 fog light and I'm going to be doing a retrofit for a Baja Designs S2 to fit it in the inner reflector housing here. And I just want to give a quick shout out to Vision Autoworks. They actually do this with the Diode Dynamics SSC2 or the equivalent like dual pod light for Diode Dynamics. They do a really clean job. They know how to do this probably a lot better than me. I already did my other one and got it to work. It was definitely a hack job, but I learned a lot from the first one, so now I'm going to show you how to do it on this. But yeah, Vision Autoworks, if you end up wanting to just get a clean set and not have to worry about chopping up your fog lights and having a mini heart attack, feel free to check them out. I just want to give a quick shout out because he gave me a little bit of a hint on how to chop up that inner reflector housing to get everything to fit. Okay, so if you want to do this yourself, pull your fog lights out. It's a 10 mil. I can leave a link in the description to a video that shows you how to pull these out. Very simple, one 10 mil, and then this clip right here at the top. I think that's pretty much it, and you just kind of pull it out. Once that's out, the first kind of major step that's a little bit freaky, you want to pull off all the metal on here. So I pulled the screw out. I took off the back only. You didn't really need to pull like a lot of the stuff off. There's a little rubber hose piece that I would pull off just so that it doesn't melt. But what you're going to do is you're going to take your entire fog light and you're going to stick it in the oven. I'll leave a link on how to like basically pull or break up the permaseal and pull the lens off of the fog light. But it's pretty simple. It seems freaky, but it's really not that bad. I think the hardest part is actually getting it back on later. But you put it in, you preheat the oven to about 240 to 270, depending on which video you watch. Set a timer for 5 to 10 minutes and wait for this to heat up. The temperature won't get hot enough to melt the plastic in any way, but it'll get hot enough for it to be a little tough to handle, but it'll melt the rubber permaseal that ends up going in this little channel here that goes around. I have the lens off right now, obviously. There's a lens that goes over this. And once you have this heated up, there's these little tab holes. You have to kind of stick like a flathead screwdriver or something and start yanking on this, and you'll be able to pull the lens off and you'll see the permaseal kind of come out with it, kind of like when you pull apart pizza and there's like strings of cheese and everything. When that happens, try to catch as much of it as you can along the edge so that it doesn't like fall into the chrome. A little trick that I learned the first time around is you can use a screwdriver to collect some of that on the screwdriver and like also maybe push a lot of that rubber back in the channel just so that it's easier to apply a bead of butyl rubber later when you go to reseal it. But some of that stuff can collect on the screwdriver, and you can use that to actually collect little strings that end up falling on the chrome, and you can just kind of like lightly tap the sticky part on here and collect it. So once that's done, you got the first kind of hard step out of the way. Second, what you want to do is focus on this inner reflector housing here. Sorry if I'm like looking away. It's like I'm trying to see where I'm pointing, but you want to focus on this inner reflector housing. So basically what I'm trying to do is retain the stock harness here. So we have the power ground wires here, and we can use the stock harness with the Baja Designs S2 light, and also retain the factory adjustment. So this inner reflector housing actually moves up and down, and you can point your fog light. So I want the S2 to sit as it would, or as the OEM light would, but now we're going to have much brighter and better output. So we need to detach this inner housing from the actual, like the main housing. And then once that's done, we can start cutting this up, which is kind of the scariest part of the whole process. The S2 doesn't fit in there flush. You kind of have to play around with it a little bit. So what I had to do on the other one, you'll see later when I finish it, but you cut the back of the inner reflector housing. You'll cut most of it off so that you can sit the Baja Designs S2 in there flush. And then I used 3M tape to on top and bottom to kind of wedge it in there and sandwich it and have a pretty steady, like it won't vibrate under, normal driving condition or anything like that. It should be pretty solid in there. And that's what I ended up with on my truck. I'll show you some video of it later. But for now, I'm going to start taking this apart and give you guys an update in a bit. So I'll see you in a minute. Okay, so this is my other one. I fucked up, so when I reinstalled this, you can see right here the inner housing, the glue got stuck. I couldn't see it. I pushed and ended up messing this up, and you know, that was a learning experience. Also, I didn't do the cleanest job of installing that, but it is in there pretty good. I also cleaned the fog light and everything, but yeah, I mean, it works really well. This is the one I did before, and over here, so I have the new housing. As you can see, I drilled a good chunk out of the back. I got to do some cleanup work on this, but I drilled or cut out the main piece on the back. So this used to go here, and you can see I took this like radial like carve bit on my Dremel and carved out some extra meat out of this thing. So specifically for the S2, the Baja Designs S2, you have to drill out into these little holes right here. Basically what happens is the lip, like back here on the heatsink, is gonna sit in those, and you can't get the clearance for it to sit flush. So let me see if I can do this one-handed. Actually, it goes the short side on top. Sorry, pardon me while I try to fumble around. But as you can see, after drilling all that out, I can get this thing in flush. Well, flush. I'm holding it weird, but yeah, it sits in there nice and neat. The thing is, when you're looking at this head on, it's going to be like these little gaps on the side and stuff. There's going to be no light really sneaking in there. Also, I put some electrical tape over the back. Also, the inside of this is going to be painted black. So it's not really an issue with light leaking through. It's just, you know, you can clean it up as much as you want. Or if you aren't in such a hurry like me, I'm sure you could probably template something out and do a better job cutting this. I'm not the greatest. I just did what I could with a cutoff wheel and this bit. So yeah, hopefully that gives you a little bit of an understanding of how I got this to fit. When this sits in here, it sits in the fog light, short side on top, long side on bottom, like this. And then the top parts of the heat sink in the back of the S2 will fit into these little slots. Just make sure you don't cut off like the whole tab, or else you won't have the stability. But I mean, there's tons of meat there left, and it doesn't really require that much. It's just for stability. But yeah, the little holes there allow that heat sink to back itself into there, and for the light to sit flush. But yeah, so if you need a quick photo of what that looks like, that's how much I cut out of the back. You probably don't have to cut that much. You could probably get away with drilling the holes and maybe cutting out a little in the center. I just did this so that it's a lot easier to work with. But okay, so now I'm going to paint this and let it sit and cure, and then I'll show you how I 3M tape the S2 top and bottom so it kind of just wedges in there. A bit of a trial and error process, but hopefully I can get it a little bit cleaner this time. My other one is off like a hair. It's sticking out a little bit, but I mean, it's a floodlight, so it kind of just, I don't know, you don't really notice that it's like a little bit crooked by a couple degrees. Yeah, so I'm gonna go paint this and I'll cut back to that. Okay. All right, I'm back. It's the next day, different shirt, time warp. Okay, so this is painted now. So you can see I didn't do the best job of painting it. It was kind of windy outside. I didn't really have anywhere else to do it, but you know, whatever, you're barely gonna see it. So this is now painted. I ended up making the light. I tested it on the harness. Sadly, these were reversed. So I have a, let me see if I can, will focus, probably not. Okay, well, I have a female connector here and a male connector here. This is power, gets the female, ground gets the male. Those fit into the slots on the cap, and you can use the stock harness to power this up. It'll turn on with your fog lights. And one quick note, I did have to get a smaller, like the female connection. I had to get a smaller one than what came in that like big packet that you get on Amazon. This is a 3/16 16 to 14 gauge size. I think the other one is slightly bigger, and it actually does not fit in the little channel here for the male side on this cap. So this is very tiny. I needed to get a smaller one. I got this at O'Reilly for like $4. So yeah, just in case you get stuck, you just need a smaller size. It's the same gauge, just a smaller width, and it fits perfectly. So I'm going to now, basically what the next step is, this needs to go in here, and it's gonna go inside with 3M tape on top and bottom to basically sandwich it so it doesn't have that much movement. And then I usually cut a little extra and sandwich some in there with a screwdriver just to fill the gaps, and it actually is pretty solid when it's all done. I did a little bit of a shake test and there's barely any movement. So I'm using the Scotch, whatever, I think this is like the 3M Extreme double-sided tape, and I'm gonna layer this up on here. I think I did 2 layers, so I stacked 2, and they go across the length of the top, and a little bit smaller on the bottom because I think it just fills the gap. And then you end up just stuffing a couple pieces in the back just to stabilize it. So I'll try to get a quick shot of that before I put this in once I have the 3M tape on the light. So I'll see you in a bit. Okay, I'm back. I got it finally. So it's not 100% perfect. There's like a little bit of a gap there. I'm going to try to level it out, but essentially there you go. If you can see at the bottom, you can see the 3M tape on the bottom, and then in the back, it's kind of hard to see, but there's like 2 3M pieces shoved up in there, and then there's one line across the top of this as well. So it kind of sandwiches it in there. This is pretty, like I can move it, but I have to like really push, so it shouldn't vibrate at all. But essentially that's how I got that in here. The back, you can see cut open with the thing, with the wires. Heatsink is kind of sticking out. That's where you can see like I had to drill into here to get the heatsink to fit. Same with this side. Drill out to get the heatsink to fit. So yeah, this just goes back in the fog light housing, like so. That'll go in there. Screw this in and then reseal this, and we're good to go. And then we get to throw it in the truck, and it looks cool. So yeah, I'll just post a couple videos of the final product, and yeah, hopefully this video helped you guys do the same kind of fog light retrofit, and yours probably looks way cleaner. So thanks for watching, and yeah, the next one will probably just be finished videos at night. So see you guys.